Mason, my fiancé is pregnant, so let's make this quick. Pack your things and leave. I froze, my heartbeat echoing in my ears. Mason stood there with a nervous woman holding her close. Her face was familiar, yet it took a moment for everything to click. Fiancé? Pregnant? Mason, what are you talking about? I asked, my voice shaking. He pulled her even closer, almost shielding her from my questions. Meet Lily, my soon-to-be wife. She deserves better than what you could ever give. Lily? My cousin Lily? The office intern I hired as a favor? The room spun, my vision blurring. Mason had always been distant lately, but I chalked it up to our struggles. Infertility had a way of tearing even the strongest couples apart, but this was beyond comprehension. I took a step back, bumping into the corner of the table. Lily, I whispered, not trusting my voice. You're with Mason? Lily's eyes darted around the room, refusing to meet mine. She looked more nervous than guilty. Mason, on the other hand, had a steely resolve, a determination I hadn't seen in a while. I know this is hard, he said, his tone softening ever so slightly. But Lily is pregnant. I need to be there for my child. Child? I scoffed, anger boiling up inside me. Mason, we've been trying for years, and now you just throw me aside for her. Lily spoke up then, her voice timid but firm. Darcy, I didn't mean for this to happen. Didn't mean for this to happen, I repeated, incredulous. You're my cousin, Lily. You work for me. How long has this been going on behind my back? Mason cut in. She's not to blame here. I fell in love with her. It just happened. The betrayal stung like a physical blow. And what about us, Mason? What about everything we went through together? The treatments, the doctors, the hopes every month that were dashed over and over? He didn't answer, just shifted uncomfortably. I'm sorry, Darcy, but I have to do what's right for my child. The room felt small, stifling. I needed air. Without another word, I turned and left, my mind a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. My own husband, with my cousin no less. I felt humiliated, betrayed, and so utterly alone. The echoes of their betrayal followed me out the door, every step heavy and deliberate. I needed a plan, something to hold on to. Mason wasn't just taking another woman. He was taking my family, my dreams, my future. He was leaving me to pick up the pieces of a shattered life. I walked back to our bedroom and began to pack my things, each item another reminder of the life we had built together. Photographs, mementos of trips we had taken, even everyday items like a toothbrush or a pair of slippers, felt loaded with memories that were now tainted. My phone buzzed with a call from Edith, Lily's mother, and my aunt. Ignoring it, I focused on packing. There would be time to deal with family repercussions later. For now, I needed to get out of here, to find some semblance of control. As I zipped up the last suitcase, the gravity of it all hit me. I wasn't just leaving a house, I was leaving behind a dream, a marriage, a future that would never be. But one thing was clear, this wasn't the end. This was just the beginning of something else, something stronger, and I would see it through, no matter what it took. Packing my things was a blur. I moved mechanically, stuffing clothes into bags, barely noticing what I was grabbing. I had to leave Mason and Lily far behind. This house, once filled with love and laughter, now felt like a prison of broken dreams. I stepped out, feeling the cool night air hit my face. My phone buzzed again. Aiden, my colleague from the firm. I needed to clear my head, so I walked aimlessly, letting the city lights guide me. The following morning, I found myself outside a small cafe. I stepped inside, ordering a strong coffee. As I sipped, memories of my achievements at the firm floated back. I was good at my job, damn good. I had built my reputation as a successful architect, one project at a time. Then there was Mason, always by my side, or so I had thought. I had secured prestigious contracts for the firm and earned respect from my peers. But with every professional high came the personal low of our infertility struggle. Every failed attempt at having a baby had driven a wedge between Mason and me. But I had always believed we would pull through. We met Lily at a family barbecue. She was fresh out of college, looking for a job. Out of pity, I offered her an internship at my firm. She seemed willing to work hard, at least in the beginning. As time passed, her cocky attitude surfaced. She was sloppy, often arriving late or skipping meetings altogether, leaving me to cover for her. But she was family, and I didn't want to create waves. My thoughts were interrupted by the cafe's doorbell. I looked up to see Claire, my best friend, walking through the door. She saw me and rushed over. Darcy, I came as soon as I got your message. What happened? She asked, concern etched on her face. I took a deep breath. Mason, he's with Lily, my cousin. She's pregnant. Claire's eyes widened. Are you serious, Lily? That little? She took a deep breath, trying to control her anger. What are you going to do? I don't know yet, I admitted, voice barely a whisper. I feel betrayed by both of them. Darcy, you don't deserve this, Claire said, squeezing my hand. You've been through so much. I can't just let it go, I said, feeling a surge of determination. They've taken everything from me. I need to find out more. Claire nodded, her expression serious. I'll help you any way I can. Later that day, venturing to the firm felt strange. The familiar glass doors, the hum of busy work life, all seemed unchanged, yet my world had shifted. The office was buzzing as usual, but as I entered, everything paused for a moment. Whispers floated through the air. In my office, Lily was at her desk, pretending to be busy. I approached her. We need to talk. She looked up, trying to appear nonchalant. Is this about last night? Oh, you bet it is. I snapped. How long has this been going on? You think you can just waltz in and destroy my life? Darcy, calm down, she said, looking around nervously. It just happened. Mason loves me, and he's going to be a father. Save it, I said, glaring at her. You have no idea what you've gotten yourself into. I walked away, feeling the eyes of curious colleagues on my back. I wasn't done yet, not by a long shot. If they thought they could ruin my life and get away with it, they were sorely mistaken. This was just the beginning, and I was ready to fight back, whatever it took. The next few days felt like navigating a minefield. I kept to myself at the office, focusing on work to keep the turmoil at bay. But it was impossible to ignore Lily's presence. Her attitude had shifted noticeably, cocky, almost smug. One rainy Tuesday, I entered the break room to find Lily gossiping with some colleagues. Darcy is such a control freak. She's always making everything about her, Lily was saying. I felt a wave of anger. Excuse me? I demanded, stepping forward. Lily's eyes widened momentarily, but she quickly recovered. Oh, Darcy, I was just saying how dedicated you are to your work. Save it, I snapped. Get back to work, all of you. As the small crowd dispersed, I cornered Lily. I know what you're doing. You may have Mason fooled, but not me. Her eyes narrowed. You can't control everything, Darcy. Sometimes, things just happen. I clenched my fists, resisting the urge to scream. You're playing with fire, Lily. Don't forget that. With that, I turned and left, my heart pounding. I needed to find a way to expose her. But how? Later that week, I started noticing the little things. Lily's work was sloppy, errors everywhere, deadlines missed. It seemed like everything was falling apart around her, except she didn't care. She seemed more interested in flaunting her newfound confidence and her supposed connection to Mason. I called a meeting with Aiden. He was my rock, my trusted colleague. We sat in my office, the door closed for privacy. I need your help, I said. Aiden looked worried. What's going on, Darcy? I need to find out everything about Lily. She's ruining everything I've worked for, and Mason, he's completely blind to it. He leaned forward, concerned. You think she's up to something more? I know she is, I said firmly. But I need proof. Aiden nodded. All right, I'll see what I can dig up. Feeling somewhat better, I focused on work, burying myself in blueprints and project deadlines. But Lily's presence was always there, a constant reminder of my ridicule and betrayal. During lunch one day, I overheard Lily talking loudly to some colleagues. Darcy's designs are so outdated. I don't know why she gets all the credit. I clenched my jaw and continued eating, focusing on every word, my anger intensifying with every snide comment. That evening, Aiden met me in the parking lot. I found something, he said, holding a file. What is it? I asked, eager. Her resume is padded. She lied about her qualifications. She didn't even graduate. I took the file, feeling a sense of relief mixed with anger. This is it. This is how we expose her. The next day, I called Lily into my office. She walked in, her confidence annoyingly high. Close the door, I said. She did, eyeing me warily. What's this about? I threw the file on the desk. Your lies, Lily. Your fake qualifications. You think you can come in here and tarnish everything? She glanced at the file, then back at me. And what are you going to do about it? This, I said, goes straight to HR. You're done here. Lily's face turned pale. You can't do that. Watch me, I said. You've played your games for long enough. You've played your games for long. As she stormed out, I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and sadness. This wasn't over yet, but it was a start, and I wasn't going to stop until I had my life back piece by piece. Lily had been removed from the office, but her presence still lingered like a bitter aftertaste. Mason's betrayal was a wound that wasn't healing, and I found myself constantly battling anger and sadness. But I had to push forward. There was more to uncover and a life to rebuild. One evening, I found myself in our now fractured home, staring at the empty spaces where Mason's belongings used to be. My phone buzzed. Claire. "Darcy, how are you holding up?" she asked, her voice full of concern. I sighed, trying to keep my head above water. "Listen, I heard from Edith. She's shocked about what happened. She had no idea." "Good," I said grimly. "At least someone's on my side." "Have you thought about what's next?" Claire pressed. "I have," I said, feeling a new determination. "I need to figure out everything about Mason and Lily's relationship. There are too many questions." Claire paused, then asked, "And after that?" "After that, I'll decide," I replied, my mind whirring with possibilities. At work, the atmosphere was tense. Everyone knew about Lily's abrupt departure, but no one dared to ask me directly. Instead, whispers and sideways glances filled the office. Despite the chaos, Aiden remained a rock. "Darcy, how's everything?" he asked, showing genuine concern. "I'm coping," I said. "I'll need your help again, Aiden. There's more to this story." "I've got your back," he assured me. Days later, trouble brewed again. Mason showed up at the office unannounced. His presence sent immediate unease through me. "Can we talk?" he asked, his tone softer than I expected. I gestured for him to enter my office, closing the door behind us. "What do you want?" He hesitated, then said, "Darcy, I didn't come here to fight. I want to explain." "Explain?" I scoffed, crossing my arms. "Explain how you cheated on me with my cousin? Knocked her up and expected me to just pack up and leave?" He winced. "I know it looks bad." "Looks bad?" I interrupted, my voice rising. "It is bad, Mason." He took a deep breath. "It wasn't planned. It just happened. We didn't mean to hurt you." My eyes hardened. "Oh, save it. None of that excuses what you did." "Darcy, I miss you," he admitted, voice shaking. "Miss me?" I laughed bitterly. "You're unbelievable." He reached out, but I stepped back. "Darcy, please understand. I'm still here for you." I shook my head, feeling disgusted. "You've ruined everything. There's no turning back now. Can we at least talk?" he pleaded. "One last chance?" I stared at him, debating. "Fine, we'll talk, but not now. I need time." Mason nodded, grateful. "Thank you." As he left, I sank into my chair, trying to process the emotions swirling inside me. One thing was clear. I couldn't trust his words. Aiden knocked, entering the room. "Everything okay?" "No," I admitted, feeling exhausted. "But I'll manage." "Stay strong, Darcy," he said. "You've got people who care about you." "Thanks, Aiden," I said, giving him a weak smile. "I appreciate it." As the days turned into weeks, I continued to piece together the fragments of my life, slowly but surely. Mason's betrayal and Lily's deceit had rocked my world, but they wouldn't break me. This was just a temporary setback. I was stronger than that. I sat at my desk the next day, trying to focus on my designs, but Mason's unexpected visit haunted my thoughts. Suddenly, there was a light knock at the door. Aiden peeked in. "Got a minute?" he asked. "Yeah, come in," I replied, putting down my pencil. He closed the door behind him. I did a little more digging into Lily's past, found something interesting. "What is it?" I asked, intrigued. He handed me a folder. Her last 2 jobs didn't end well. Both places reported issues with her work ethic and integrity. "Not surprised," I muttered, flipping through the pages. "This just adds to the pile." Aiden leaned in. "What's your next move?" "I'm going to expose her for who she really is," I said firmly. "But I need to do it right." That evening, I was at home, pacing the living room, when I heard a knock. I opened the door to find Mason and Lily standing there. My stomach churned. "What do you want?" I demanded. "We need to talk," Mason said. "Fine." "Make it quick," I replied, stepping aside to let them in. "We're here to clear the air," Mason started, his tone unusually calm. "Clear the air?" I said, incredulous. "After everything you've done?" Lily spoke up then, her voice lacking any real sincerity. "Darcy, we didn't mean for things to get out of hand." I glared at her. "You think you can just waltz in here and make everything better with a few words?" Mason sighed. "We want to make amends." "Amends?" I let out a bitter laugh. "You've destroyed everything I cared about." Lily shifted uncomfortably. "Darcy, we..." Save it, Lily, I interrupted. I know about your past jobs, your lies. You're not fooling anyone here. Mason's face went pale. What are you talking about? Ask her, I said, nodding towards Lily. She's been lying through her teeth. Lily's eyes widened, panic flashing across her face. Darcy, please. You don't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly, I said, my voice ice cold. You're a manipulator and a fraud. Mason turned to Lily, his eyes narrowing. Is this true? She looked away, unable to meet his gaze. Mason, Enough, I shouted, my emotions boiling over. Get out of my house. Mason hesitated, then took Lily by the arm, leading her out. We'll talk later, he muttered. As the door closed behind them, I felt a strange sense of satisfaction. It wasn't over, but it was a start. The next day at work, I called a staff meeting. Everyone gathered in the conference room, the air thick with curiosity. Thank you all for coming, I began. I have some important updates. I paused, letting the room settle. It has come to my attention that certain individuals have been spreading false information and causing unrest in the office. There were murmurs of agreement and nods around the room. As your leader, it is my responsibility to ensure a trustworthy and professional environment, I continued. I want you all to know that we are taking steps to address this. Aiden, who was standing in the back, gave me a supportive nod. We're in this together, his eyes seemed to say. As the meeting ended and people filed out, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I wasn't going to let anyone ruin what I had built. Not Mason, not Lily. This was my life, my work, and I would protect it fiercely. Later that night, as I sat by the window, the city lights twinkling below, I felt a sense of resolve. The journey was far from over, but I was ready. This fight wasn't just about revenge, it was about reclaiming my life and my future. And I was far from done. I woke up the next morning with a renewed sense of purpose. It was time to dig deeper into Lily's past. Aiden and I had only scratched the surface, and I needed to know exactly who I was dealing with. I called Aiden to my office. We need more on Lily. I have a feeling her deceit goes deeper than fake resumes. Understood, he said. I'll make it a priority. Feeling a bit lighter, I returned to my work. My designs were coming together nicely, and the distraction was welcome. A few days later, Aiden walked in with another folder. You're not going to believe this, he said, handing it over. Inside were documents outlining a string of manipulative relationships and deceitful behaviors, not just at work, but in her personal life, too. It was a goldmine of dirt. She's left a trail of destruction everywhere she's been, I muttered. It gets worse, Aiden added. She has a history of lying about pregnancies to keep men around. I felt a surge of anger and disgust. This is perfect. We have to confront her. Aiden nodded, determination in his eyes. Let's do it. We decided to confront Lily in the office. As we walked through the hallways, my heart pounded. This was it. In the break room, Lily was chatting with some colleagues, clearly enjoying herself. Aiden and I approached her. Lily, we need to talk, I said, my voice steady. She glanced up, surprised. Now? Yes, I snapped. Now. We moved to a private corner, Aiden standing close behind me for support. I held up the folder. You know what this is? I asked, my tone icy. Lily's eyes darted to the folder, then back to me. What are you talking about? Your history of lies and manipulation, I said, opening the folder. Fake pregnancies, deceitful relationships, and the list goes on. Her face went pale, her facade crumbling. Darcy, you don't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly, I interrupted. You've been using people for your own gain, and it stops now. She looked at Aiden, pleading. You can't believe this. It's not true. Aiden's expression was cold. We've seen enough proof, Lily. You're finished. Her shoulders slumped, realizing she had no way out. Please, Darcy, I'm begging you. Don't do this. You should have thought about that before you decided to destroy my life, I said, my voice firm. Pack your things and leave. As Lily left the office, tears streaming down her face, I felt a sense of triumph. It wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about justice. Later that evening, I received a call from Mason. Darcy, we need to talk. Lily is saying all sorts of things. Meet me at the office, I replied. He arrived, looking troubled. I stepped out, holding the folder. You need to see this. As he flipped through the documents, his face turned ashen. I can't believe this, he whispered. Believe it, I said coldly. She's been lying to you from the start. But the baby, he stammered. Lies, I confirmed. It's what she does. Mason looked broken. Darcy, I'm so sorry. It's too late for apologies, I said, my voice firm. You made your choice. As he left, I felt a mix of satisfaction and sadness. The truth was out, but the damage was done. Yet, I realized this was a new beginning. The storm had passed, and I was ready to rebuild, and I had the strength to do it. Is it with or without Mason? The next few days passed in a haze. The revelation about Lily had caused ripples throughout our social and professional circles. Word spread quickly, and soon everyone knew about her deceitful ways. I received a call from Edith, Lily's mother, one afternoon. Her voice was trembling. "Darcy, what's happening? Lily's been saying terrible things." "She brought it on herself, Edith. She lied and manipulated everyone," I replied. "But she's my daughter," Edith said, her voice breaking. "I know this is hard, but she's been deceiving us all. You have to understand that," I said gently. There was silence, then a soft sob. "I trusted her. I trusted her with you." I didn't know what to say, so I just listened as Edith cried softly. When she finally hung up, I felt a strange sense of empathy mixed with resolve. The truth was out, but the fallout was far from over. Mason was having his own share of problems. His colleagues at work had begun to distance themselves, and our mutual friends were hesitant to take a side. One evening, he showed up at the office, looking haggard. "Darcy, can we talk?" he asked, his voice rough. I looked at him, feeling a pang of sympathy. "All right." We sat in my office, the air thick with unspoken words. "I've lost everything," he said finally. "You brought this on yourself, Mason. You chose Lily, knowing what it would cost." He looked down, rubbing his temples. "I know, and I regret it every single day, but I didn't know she was lying about everything." "It's too late for regrets," I said firmly. "You have to face the consequences." We sat in silence for a few moments. Finally, Mason looked up. "Is there no way to make amends?" I shook my head. "You shattered any trust I had. This isn't something that can be fixed with words." He nodded, tears in his eyes. "I understand." As Mason left, I felt a wave of exhaustion. It was like coming to the end of a long, grueling marathon. There were no winners here, only survivors. On the work front, my determination paid off. My projects were on track, and the team had rallied behind me. Claire was a constant source of support, and Aiden's steadfastness made every challenge seem manageable. One evening, we gathered at a small bar to unwind. Claire raised her glass. "To Darcy, for showing us what real strength looks like." Everyone cheered, and I felt a warmth spread through me. These were my people, my real family. As the night wore on, Aiden pulled me aside. "You did it, Darcy. You've come out stronger." "I had help," I replied, smiling at him. He looked at me, his gaze steady. "You're incredible. You know that? You deserve so much better." I felt a blush rise to my cheeks. "Thank you, Aiden, for everything." Walking home that night, the city lights seemed brighter. I had faced betrayal, deceit, and heartbreak. But through it all, I had found my true strength. The next morning, I sat in my office, planning the next big project. There was a knock at the door, and Claire walked in with a huge grin. "You won't believe this. Lily's trying to salvage her reputation, but no one's buying it. She's getting ostracized everywhere." I looked at her, feeling a sense of justice. "Karma," Claire nodded. "Exactly. Karma." As I turned back to my work, I felt a deep sense of closure. Everything was falling into place, the pieces of my life rearranging themselves into something stronger, something new. And for the first time in a long while, I felt a sense of peace. Months had passed since the storm of betrayal and revelation. My life had slowly pieced itself back together, stronger and more resilient than ever. My career was flourishing. Heading several new architectural projects felt like a triumph, a testament to my determination and skill. One afternoon, while I was overseeing a site, my phone rang. It was Claire. "Darcy, you've got to see this," she said excitedly. "What's up?" I replied, trying to hear over the construction noise. "Check your email right now," she insisted. I found a quiet corner to look at my phone. In my inbox was a forwarded message outlining a prestigious architecture award nomination. "I don't believe it," I whispered, scrolling through the details. "Believe it, girl. You've earned this," Claire said with pride. I leaned against the wall, feeling the weight of the past year lift slightly. "Thank you, Claire, for always believing in me." In the following weeks, my workload grew, but so did the excitement. I threw myself into the projects, channeling every ounce of my energy and creativity. The team rallied around me, their support and enthusiasm a constant boost. One evening, as we wrapped up a meeting, Aiden approached me. There's a gala for the award nominees next week. Are you going? I wasn't sure, I admitted. But maybe I should. You should definitely go, he encouraged. And you won't be going alone. We're all going to be there, cheering you on. I smiled, feeling grateful. Thanks, Aiden, that means a lot. The night of the gala arrived quickly. Dressed in an elegant black gown, I felt a mix of nerves and excitement. Claire and Aiden met me at the venue, both looking proud and supportive. As we entered the grand hall, I spotted familiar faces, colleagues, clients, industry leaders. It felt surreal to be among them as a nominee. The evening progressed with speeches and presentations. When my name was announced as the winner of the Rising Star Award, the room erupted in applause. I walked up to the stage, my heart pounding. Congratulations, Darcy, the presenter said as he handed me the trophy. Thank you, I managed, feeling a wave of emotion. This means the world to me. As I stood there holding the award, I saw Mason at the back of the room. He looked different, humbled, almost defeated. After the ceremony, he approached me hesitantly. Darcy, can we talk? He asked, his voice filled with regret. I nodded, leading him to a quieter corner. What is it, Mason? I wanted to say I'm sorry. Truly, I've realized how much I've lost, he said, his eyes earnest. I looked at him, feeling a mix of emotions. Mason, I appreciate your apology, but it's too late. You broke something that can't be fixed. He nodded, tears in his eyes. I understand. I just needed you to know. As he left, I felt a sense of closure. The past was behind me, and I was ready to move forward. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter. The gala, the award, Mason's apology. It all felt like a final chapter closing. My future was bright, filled with new opportunities and possibilities. Returning to my office, I found a small bouquet on my desk with a note from Aiden. To new beginnings. I smiled, feeling hopeful. Life had thrown its worst at me, but I had risen above it. I was ready for whatever came next, strong and unbreakable. As I sat at my desk planning the next big project, I knew one thing for sure. I had reclaimed my life, and I wasn't looking back. The journey had been painful, but it had also made me who I am, unstoppable.